Hey everybody, welcome. Welcome to Cynthia and Barb's podcast on episode 64.
Episode 64 of Podcast On, where Barb and I come to you from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, from our yarn shop, River City Yarns, and we tell you all about what's happening behind the scenes.
Yeah.
in our yarn shop.
Local online yarn shop.
Or online local yarn shop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
OLYS. Yeah, so welcome. We've got a ton of things to show you today and to talk with you about. So let's get started.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So one of the things that has been top of mind right now is
Yes.
the situation that's happening in Ukraine. And we wanted to just give you like a recap of some of the things that are going on our radar and invite you to join us in some of those things.
First of all, I just want to say that I can't imagine what it must be like to live in Ukraine, to live in Poland, to live in all the countries surrounding there.
Yeah.
It's just heart-wrenching. And, what can you do? It's hard, isn't it? We're one person, one store, we're not government officials. We're not in a position to make decisions about what to do. Although I think if I was king for a day.
Well, let's not talk about that. Yeah, I mean, sorry, we should talk about that. Absolutely, Barb. I understand what you're saying. But you're right. I mean, we are, but a number of individuals who band together can certainly help. And I know that there are some really great initiatives designed to help provide humanitarian support in Ukraine, as well as the surrounding countries that are receiving refugees.
Right.
And here in Canada, too, we've tried to fast track our immigration process to make sure that we can provide a home for those who are in need of one right now.
And I know so many people whose families are in Ukraine and who have been actually trying to get them here for, years, months. And so this could be a really great thing in that they might actually be able to now come here and live with their... nobody wants to leave their country though,
No.
right? Yeah.
No.
So,
And nobody wants to see this kind of event continue.
yeah.
So
what can we do? Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And so some of the ways that we thought we could help support, I mean, obviously fundraising is a big part of it, but also just being visible about showing support for folks in Ukraine. So the first thing we did was take one of our patterns and re-knit it in a couple of different ways. So Barb's holding up the Hope hat. This is a free pattern on our website, and we'll put a link to it in the show notes down below. And we'd love for you to join us in knitting this hat. We've made the pattern free, and we encourage you to donate to whatever organization you feel will give the best benefit to help in this issue. Barb, you've knit this one in the Ukrainian flag colors.
Yeah. Yeah. So the Hope hat, though, started out for a different reason, didn't it?
We did. Well,
originally.
we made this hat pattern to go with one of our flash mob yarns, and one of the yarn colorways was called Hope, and so we called it the Hope hat.
Right. And it was the intent on that was sort of like, we're hopeful that we'll get out of COVID, because it was right in the middle of COVID, and there were, I think it was right around the Omicron variant when that kind of raised up. So this was a perfect hat pattern because it was, again, trying to relate hopefulness and a humanity. And so this is the hat.
Yeah, so originally the hat was written for a worsted weight yarn, and so we used, in our versions that we're showing you here today, we used a double strand of a fingering weight yarn And so you can knit it in all kinds of different gauges.
Yeah.
The hat is knit from the top down. So you can cast on the number of stitches, or you obviously cast on the number of stitches that we tell you, but you can increase using whatever yarn you want. If you wanted to use huge bulky yarn and 8mm needles, you can certainly do that with this pattern. You're just going to ignore the numbers that I give you and create your own. So you start at the top and you work until it's the width of the head that you want to put it on, and then you just go straight down and put on a little bit of a ribbed brim, and you're done. So I love this pattern because it's simple and it's adjustable and
Fits everyone, and
yeah.
it looks great on you.
Thanks.
Talk about the colors that you used.
Yeah, so for this one we used, I'm gonna take another look here. We used 2 colors of camp color, and the idea here was that we were creating, 3 colors of camp color. We did a little bit of a fade to give it kind of like a sunflower appearance.
I love that, and because you had 3 colors, you could fade twice.
Right.
Like, right.
So we've got a fade happening between the brown and the gold, and then between the gold, and a bright yellow at the bottom. And so that's the fun part of this one, and
mine
use
was
2 colors.
Yeah, mine was 2 colors, and this one it was, I think, the closest colors that we could find to the Ukrainian flag.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I marled in the middle section from yellow to blue.
Yes, and I will tell you, some people ask me why the I-cord at the top, and I just think it's really handy when I get home after a walk.
Yeah.
It's nice to hang this on the hook by my door. So that's why I like that. But the I-cord is optional. You don't have to put it on. And anyway,
I love this too.
Just a nice design.
I put this on all my slippers, and I have them hanging on my bedroom handles.
What can't you do with an I-cord loop?
Right.
Easy to make. And I find it's a nice way to actually start this hat because you have something to hold on to. You got 4 stitches at the beginning. That can be a little precarious.
Yeah, I've seen them too, made really long. You could also sew them down to the hat and make a
For
pattern.
sure, absolutely.
So
yeah,
many
this was free pattern. If you use a fingering weight yarn, double-stranded like we did, I don't know, doesn't this feel squishy?
Yeah, and double-stranded sock yarn, like superwash merino, is just so much fun to knit with.
Absolutely.
I can't put it down.
Yeah.
We'll show you another project later.
Well, great way to stash bust too, right?
Yeah.
So if you've got some, small bits of yarn in your stash and you want to use them up, it's a great project for that. So the intention is that we invite you to download the pattern, and then the invitation is to make a donation to a humanitarian effort of your choosing. And then later on, if you want to use the hat pattern as a fundraiser for something else, you want to make hats,
Right.
Of course, we'd be happy and delighted to know that you're using it for good.
And, not everybody can donate. I think, I'll just put that out there too, that we realize that not everyone can donate. So this is, we do have a project though. This is a free pattern and everyone's welcome to it. If you do want to donate, we have another thing that we're talking about.
We have a couple of things for sure.
Yeah.
And so absolutely. It's not that you may not be able to donate. It's just that sometimes trying to choose a donation and find it online and put your credit card online and all that kind of stuff can be intimidating, or sometimes in this internet world it can be a little bit scary. So we've got some projects that we're encouraging you to buy into, and we'll make the donation for you. We'll try to make it as easy as possible. So this is the Freedom for Ukraine Gnome project that you're alluding to. So tell us about that.
Well, you tell us about it because you found out about it. You found out through Gail. She was doing it. And
okay, sure. So our friend Gail from Longmont Yarn Shop in Colorado suggested that we participate with her on an idea that she had. She and her husband wanted to donate to humanitarian efforts in Ukraine, and they decided to encourage all of their friends and supporters to do the same thing. So they came up with this idea of creating, they created 2 gnome kits. One is a knitted gnome and one is a crocheted gnome, and they're working on the knitted gnome, working with Sarah Shira from Imagine Landscapes. And so they said, you know, do you want to join us?
Yeah, it couldn't have come at a better time because we were talking about exactly that same thing. What can we do?
Yeah.
Right? And so this is perfect.
Right. So if you're, so the idea is if you're American and you want to support Longmont Yarn Shop's Freedom for Ukraine Gnome project, we completely endorse that. Or if you would like a crocheted gnome as opposed to a knitted gnome, they have a perfect kit combination for you. And if you're Canadian and you don't want to pay international shipping or the exchange rate, we have a Canadian version for you. Of course, Canadians, you are welcome to purchase Longmont's yarn kit, and Americans, you're welcome to purchase River City Yarns kit. We just feel like by pulling in more shops and more people, making them aware of it, we'll have a better chance of doing something significant. So tell us about the gnomes, Barb.
Yeah. So we just made up a little gnome. I'll go grab him.
Yeah.
I forgot about.
Isn't he sitting up here?
He's right in the very front.
I can.
Can you reach him?
For you.
Okay.
Sure.
So this, I can't remember the pattern.
This one is Never Not Gnoming.
I think so. This is the one where you get 3 gnome patterns from Sarah. This is a great one to start with because this guy is the middle gnome. There's a smaller one and then there's a bigger one. And it's really a great skill builder too. You start at the top of his hat, you knit down, you're increasing, and then you get to make little parts. So you get to make the beard and the arms. Longmont Yarn Shop, Gail, came up with the little flag pattern. So this is so cute. I made flags for all of my gnomes, and they're all standing in support of this little guy. And it's fun to, you know, do photo shoots, and I haven't done a little video yet, but that might be next, of them all waving their flags. Yeah. And this is just a little flag on a toothpick, and you just put a little dab of glue here, and away you go.
So our kits contain what, Barb?
Our kits contain a ball of epic yarn in this blue shade. It's called denim. A ball in our harvest gold, and a 50-gram skein of the white for the beard. You only need a little bit for the beard and the nose and the ends of the arms. We plan to keep this little guy in our gnome offering. He's called a Freedom Gnome. And we'll continue to donate proceeds from that kit to the Red Cross.
So there's another initiative that just crossed our radar recently, and that's Justyna Lakowska. She is a designer from Poland, and we met Justyna when she came here to Edmonton for a Knit for Fun retreat with Ann Budd. And she's donating.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Justyna has a relationship with Shibui, and she did a pattern for them using a double strand of their yarn, Lunar. It's a very fine silk and merino yarn, and you can use any sort of lace yarn double-stranded or any yarn that you would like, getting that DK weight gauge. So Cynthia and I are planning on knitting this pattern. We bought the pattern.
So let's tell everybody what the pattern is. It's called Solicitude. You can purchase it on Ravelry. And Justyna is donating 100% of the pattern sales to a food bank in Pila, Poland, where she lives, which is very close to the border with Ukraine. So seeing lots of influx of Ukrainian refugees. Yeah.
Right. So we just kind of ran out and bought the pattern right away. Yeah. And then we thought it would be fun to have maybe a knit along. So
I think this is a great idea. I've heard of people who are buying Airbnb space in Ukraine to help support the Ukrainian people who are, you know, under deluge. So this is kind of the same idea. Buy the pattern, even if you have no intention of knitting it ever, or you could buy 2 copies or 3 copies. It's a more of a ground level kind of fundraising initiative because Justyna is there on the ground, and she and her husband are doing everything that they can to help support the refugees who are coming into their country. Yeah. And so yes, it's a great initiative. And then Barb, you and I thought maybe this spring or summer we would do a knit along using that pattern. So if you buy it now and you think, oh, like, will I ever knit this? know that we're sort of plotting behind the scenes to come up with a way of doing a knit along because it's a beautiful shawl.
It's gorgeous.
It could be really nice. So tell us what you think, like in the comments down below. Do you think you'd like to do a knit along with us this summer?
Using her pattern?
Yeah. And by the way, I am wearing a Shibui yarn today. I'm wearing Seema.
Yes.
Double-stranded.
Yes.
I have to tell you, it's so cozy.
Yeah, and it holds up so well. There isn't even a pill on that top.
No, and I haven't gleaned it.
Oh.
This is Seema double-stranded. Here, I'll just stand out for
in
a
the
second.
sleeveless slip-over pattern from Church Mouse, right?
Yeah, exactly.
They're
And
so nice.
it was kind of a mistake. We were supposed to use 2 different yarns held together, and we ended up using 2 strands. I ended up using 2 strands of Seema held together. But this is my favorite.
I know.
Garment.
I know.
It's so
Seema's
cozy.
beautiful as a yarn.
Yeah.
Well, I think we'll come up with a couple of options. Maybe we'll have that one and then a cotton
Maybe
one.
a cotton one would be nice for
Yeah.
summer. Hey. Okay. So yeah, let us know what you think. And that's about it for our initiatives right now. But you know, there are lots of things happening out there, lots of ways that you can support the folks who are under duress right now.
In need. Yeah.
Okay, so Barb, these just came in. This is the new Rowan magazine, and I just want to tell everybody they smell like fresh printing. We just took them out of the box, and we've been, you know, saying, well, let's tell everybody, you know, what's exciting about here. So, Barb, you had a thought about the themes. So let's explain that these Rowan, they're called Rowan magazines, but it's really like a soft cover book. You know, it is a magazine, but the format is really large. It's like a coffee table book. The photography in here is always stunning. And we had lots of, you know, curiosity about it when we put it out in our newsletter a little while ago. So what are the themes in the book?
Yeah, well, this issue is called Joy. So, you know, it's all about creating joy. And Rowan went out to their designers. Another thing that they're quite, you know, well known for is their bevy of knitwear and crochet designers. And they have some of the top talent, I'd say, in the world.
They do.
Including Kay Fassett and Arnie and Carlos, who are probably their most popular designers.
Well, Lisa Richardson,
Erica Knight.
Yeah.
The list goes on and on.
Well, they're listed on the front actually. You know, there's Georgia Farrell and Quail Studio. So they do a lot of work with Quail Studio, which is nice. Viba Ulrich, Chloe Thoreau, Anika Andrea Volka, Emma Wright, Anna Hull. So yeah, these are great. And I just got to read this opening page here. They say, joy is a life force. Joy is something that binds us together. Joy is deeply personal. Joy is an antidote to fear.
Yeah.
What does joy mean to you?
Exactly. Tell us what joy means to you. You know, we've had opportunity to chat with the Rowan team too, because one of the things about being a flagship store is that you get to sit down with the Rowan team before this issue even comes out and see a preview of it and talk about the intent and the strategy behind it. So this whole issue was, you know, we've gone through so much as retail stores and yarn distributors and companies through pandemic, and ups and downs, and we've lost loved ones, and there's been so much that's happened to us that we needed some sort of, you know, optimism and some color and some positivity. And so that's what I feel this whole issue is about. It's all about bringing joy and welcoming in spring and summer and a new season.
Yeah.
And the neat thing about it is that they asked the Rowan design team, what brings you joy? And everyone told them. You know, and for example, Kaif starts it right here. My joy is color. Well, yes, isn't that the truth, right? He's all about color, and he's got the most beautiful scarf in here.
I was just looking at it because, you know, we were talking about this earlier. It's very similar to the one that you're wearing,
Yeah.
except that it's, I don't believe it is shadow.
It's
It's not
not.
shadow knit.
It's not, Cynthia.
Striped.
I looked it up last night,
Yeah.
and it's actually in Tarsha.
Ah.
So he's worked, I think he picked a palette of like 50 colors or something, or no, 20 colors of cotton glacé,
Yeah.
and just started working in Tarsha. And this one too is amazing. This is a vest called Diamond Stripe. And it too is about 20 colors of cotton glacé and small in Tarsha diamonds.
Yeah. That's
So,
lovely.
yeah. So the whole book, Lisa Richardson talks about her joy being nature. And she's very much inspired by nature and loves natural fibers. And Cynthia and I had a chance to meet her during COVID early on, and where she talked to us about working with pure cashmere.
Meet her in the Zoom sense.
Yes, in the Zoom sense.
Yeah.
And then Martin, his joy is cables, and it goes on and on. It's just a lovely, but I'll just talk about Brandon Mabley, Kaif's partner, and he says, my joy is a new day. And he's got a whole article in here about how he created the palette for this garment. And this is the one, Cynthia.
She's stealing my thunder.
Nope, not stealing it at all. I'm just opening the door for you.
Yeah, I said to Barb, I was curious about this particular cardigan, Jolly, because we've had a couple of customers really resonate with it. And they've asked questions about it. And so, yeah, this one is also in Tarsha, and it's got lots of colors in it. Also in cotton glacé, so perfect for spring and summertime. And it's just it's like a fun project to do. Yeah. Somebody asked me, they said, I'm an experienced knitter. Do you think this project is too difficult for me? And I said, it's not. No, I mean it's a subjective question to answer. It is in Tarsha, which means that you will be changing colors throughout the row, and it also means that there'll be more ends to weave in. But a lot of Rowan's garments, I think almost all of them, are done in pieces. And so, if you want to if you want to do a sweater and you want to travel around with it, doing it that way, knitting a back, 2 fronts, 2 sleeves, is a great way to have a portable project, and gives the garment some structure as well. So I don't think it's particularly difficult if you know how to do the color work section of it.
Cynthia, I'm a big believer in the difficulty level is directly in relationship to how inspired you are to do it. Kaif, his early stories was traveling on a train, did not even know how to knit, and started knitting a 20-color sweater in Tarsha with help from a woman that he met on the train. So I truly believe that if you are inspired, if something like this, hits a spark of joy for you inside, you can do it. Absolutely, you can do it. It's just knitting and purling, and it's changing colors. And so, yeah, do it, right? I mean, think about it too. These sweaters are a once-in-a-lifetime sweater. You're probably not going to make 2. You're only going to make 1. But what a statement this is. Yeah.
For sure.
And it appeals to young and old. There's someone who I think is like a skateboard artist or something who's been designing clothing in wild colors, and it's seen on like on runways and things. So I think it appeals to all.
For sure. For sure.
And then Arnie and Carlos in here have a pattern. Their joy is pattern. Excuse me, and patterning. And so they have 2, and one of them happens to be the cover garment.
Nice.
Called Collage. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah. So what are your first picks as you leaf through the magazine?
There are so many in here. There are, and there's a whole section too on the next section in this book is on, I forget what it's called. Movement and stillness.
Right.
And so this is the theme of Annika Andrea Wolk. Her joy is movement, and she's all about knitting and yoga, which is kind of really special for us right now too. We're working.
Yep, we'll talk to you about that. You bet.
This is the one. I love this little cardigan. It's a short, sort of cropped cardi, almost like a Chanel style, done out of cotton. And I think
That one was done out of creative linen, was it?
Sorry, you're right. Creative linen. Yeah.
I brought out a ball of cotton glacé and a skein of creative linen just to talk a little bit about it. I'll let you finish first, and then we'll describe the yarns.
I just think it's a really pretty style. It would look really nice over anything with a t-shirt with jeans or a skirt in the summertime, or even a sundress. And it's got a really pretty little diamond sort of
kind of like
pattern,
a lace detail on the back?
A lace detail on the back, yeah. It's called Still.
Oh, nice. Yeah. And I think you had found one too that you really liked that was crocheted.
Yeah, there's a crochet.
A few crochet projects in here.
I think I marked it with my my Easter.
Some Easter fluff?
Yeah.
Oh, that is gorgeous.
Isn't this pretty? So this is called Shade. And the second section in the book, I think, is all about more earthy. It's called The Joy of Fresh Air. So that's the next section in the book. And it's all photographed in fields.
Oh, nice.
It's very sort of gardeny, and there's a crochet blanket, a granny square blanket.
Kind of gives you an idea of how far ahead Rowan needs to be designing these things, because in order to photograph people in fields for a magazine that's coming out in the spring, they must have been doing this last summer.
Yeah.
I believe they almost go like a year ahead. Or close to that, right?
Got to.
Right?
Got to.
Yeah.
And all these models are by themselves. You know, you don't see them. So there were probably still COVID constraints that they had to go through. But this one, I just love it because it's sort of like just a boxy shape.
Yeah.
But you can see how you could wear that.
Yeah. Sort of see-through, so it would be great for the beach or over a tank top. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just give you that nice, beautiful layer.
And she's holding a blanket too. What a wonderful way to use your blankets. Take them outside and put them on the grass. And
or over your lap in the evening. Yeah. Okay, so
Anyways.
let's talk a little bit about creative linen, because I know this is one of your favorite yarns. Yeah.
It is, and it's because it's a blend. You know, it's 50-50. So it's got linen in it, but it also has really nice cotton in it too.
Right.
And, you know, the cotton gives it some softness. Linen can be sort of stiff, but this is a really nice way to blend the fibers.
Well, and just recently we did a class with Kate Atherley on yarn substitutions, and she said to everybody, you know, that she loves linen, and if you haven't tried working with linen yet, you need to. The more you wear it, the more you wash it, the more you crunch it, the softer it gets. So this actually feels pretty good in the skein. You know, it's
really
not
good.
stiff like 100% linen would be. And this is a worsted weight yarn. And I brought it out in a yellow because, you know, we're just dying for some color, right? And then this is cotton glacé.
Yes.
Yeah. Tell us a bit about that one.
Yeah, so cotton glacé is, it's beautiful too, and it's featured so much in this book. I wish we would have bought a little bit more, but it's a really beautiful sort of mercerized cotton. It's got a nice sheen to it, a little shiny, and really, really nice.
And it comes in these compact balls, so no ball winding required for cotton glacé.
That's true. I'm just trying to look for meterage, and okay, this is so tiny.
Here.
Where's my glasses? I can't
I'll
see it.
trade you. I look over the top of my glass. So 115 meters, 126 yards. It's got a sport weight gauge of 23 stitches on a 3 1/4 millimeter needle.
115 meters?
Yep.
Oh, not
to 50 grams.
Oh, to 50 grams.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's good. It's good meterage, isn't it? Sort of
sport weight.
Yeah.
But you know, again, this is the other thing that, you know, we want to remind people about. Just because something is sport weight doesn't mean you can't knit it to a DK gauge.
Right.
You can always try it out with bigger needles and check out the fabric that you're getting and decide if you like it. And I'll show you an example in a little while when I break out my FOs about how I'm you know, using a yarn with a bigger needle, and I like the results.
Yes.
So swatching, right?
Swatching. It's all about swatching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All gauges are ranges too. You know, just because the ball says 23 stitches, what they really mean is that you can get anywhere from 20 stitches to 26 stitches, depending on what needle size you use.
I'm not sure if I can wear this color, but
Yeah, I mean, but I think as an accent color, Barb, it would really be nice. Like even with those taupey colors that, you know, like that cardigan that you were looking at, it had a lot of taupe in it. So, you know, add the trim on it with bright yellow and give yourself a bit of joy.
Yes.
In having that color, even if it's not your main color.
Yeah. All right.
So, yeah. So I also wanted to let you know, Barb, the other big question that was coming up for us with this magazine is, can I get the patterns individually?
Yeah. And with Rowan magazines, almost all of them, except this one, the answer is yes. You can get them on Ravelry. But the designs in this magazine are only available in the magazine. So you do need to get them. They're like a collector's item. We have people who have collected them since book 1.
Right.
Yeah, and I still go back into some of my earlier editions and pull out pattern ideas.
Yeah, well, again, the photography is really good, and the price point is actually really amazing. You know, for the number of patterns that you get in here, the price point on the magazine is always really good.
Yeah.
If you're not able to get a physical copy, a print copy of the magazine, there is another option. Rowan has an app that you can download for free through Apple or Google Play. And through the app, you can purchase the electronic version of the magazine. So if you don't want to have the paper copy, or you can't get it, or the shipping is too much on it, that's an option as well. Yeah.
There's 36 designs in this issue.
I mean, really, it comes down to it's like $1 a pattern.
It's a little more. We had to go out with a higher price point on this one just because of the increase in costs and things.
Yeah.
But yeah, a little over $1 per pattern.
Yeah. And then you get all that beautiful, beautiful photography and the smell.
Yeah, that's something you can't get on video.
Those of you who are bookophiles, what do you call people who love books? You're just going to love the smell of this magazine. I will stop sniffing it because I'm probably getting high on it. But,
we can't go on enough about it. It's a really beautiful issue.
They do a fantastic job. They really do.
Yeah.
And just imagine what that would look like on your coffee table. It would inspire you every day. Oh, Barb, tell us what you're wearing.
Yes, I'm wearing Corinthian. This is a design from many seasons ago from a Rowan magazine. And it's knit with felted tweed, Rowan felted tweed, 3 different colors. And it's done with a technique called shadow knitting.
So incredible.
So when you kind of hold it on its side like this, you can start to see checkerboard boxes. I bet you can see it in your camera.
Maybe if I help you, Barb, I can hold this part here. Just stay right where you are.
Yeah. So it's a fun sort of technique. All it is knitting and purling. I know, it's amazing. So you're kind of like knitting, and then you purl, and then you knit, and then you purl. And it creates an illusion. The light actually picks up the purl rows and creates this sort of shadow effect.
Right. So when you look at it straight on, it just looks like stripes going across.
Yeah.
But when you look at it from any angle, all the little boxes just pop right out.
Especially down.
Yeah.
So I love wearing it like this. I like wearing it full length because, you know, when it's hanging like this, you can just see the checkerboard effect really well.
So.
And the yarn. It's so cozy, Cynthia. It's chilly here in the store today, and I'm just really nice and warm and cozy.
Yeah. And it's long enough that you can wrap it around yourself.
You can, yes, exactly. Yeah. Or keep it over your knees like an Afghan.
Yeah. So this was a design by Martin Story, and I think, Barb, you're putting together some kits for folks.
I'm thinking about it. We're going to
Okay.
see if we have the stock. Yeah.
All right. And then if you've never done shadow knitting before, we do have a class coming up with Anne Budd. That class will be on May the 6th. And it's a 1 hour or 2 hour class. I have to go back and have a look.
I know. I'd love to take that as a
Yeah.
refresher and see. What
Yeah.
else.
You just work on in fact, Anne will show you how to knit a heart into a swatch.
I did that one.
Did
I
you?
must have taken that class before. I've got a beautiful swatch on my coffee table.
Oh, lovely. Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, she'll show you how to create your own design, or maybe tempt you into creating your own design, but she'll teach you how to do shadow knitting and explain how it works. And that way you can go on to apply it to your own projects.
That's very cool. Yes, sign up for the class. That's going to be great. May what?
May 6th.
May 6th. Okay.
Yep. And then maybe we can just segue back into yoga for a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've been doing some really interesting classes with Fiona Ellis. Fiona Ellis is a Canadian designer based in Toronto, and she's come up with a series of workshops we call Knitting as Mindfulness. And she's broken it out into 3 parts. So part 1 is focusing on the past. So from a yoga perspective, it's the idea of kind of having a theme. And so she's focusing on the past, but in terms of knitting techniques, the class is really interesting because you're not doing yoga. You're actually knitting, and she'll take you through a series of exercises to help you review what you've learned in the past, how knit and purl stitches work, and you'll do this with her in a mindful kind of way, which will help you to understand your knitting better. Session 2, she focuses on the present, and she talks to you about cables, and so and increases and decreases. So putting opening and closings into your knitting. And the 3rd session is on the future, and she's going to take you through some exercises designed around color work. So these sessions are really cool. They're relaxing.
Have you taken yoga?
Energizing. I have never done a yoga.
Never
thing.
done.
No,
Oh, okay.
no.
Because the whole, opening thing, like being present and opening yourself up, is a whole thing in yoga.
Okay.
Where, you kind of, it's part of relaxation and warming your muscles up. And
Right.
yeah.
Oh, really cool.
Yeah.
Really cool. Yeah.
We need
So
to do yoga.
There are 3 sessions. Each one is a separate and individual component. So if you are unable to attend one, or you attended one in the past and you want to catch up on number 2 and number 3, you can certainly do that. The dates are May 7th for session 1, June 4th for session 2, and July 9th for session 3. And because I get asked this a lot, I just want to remind everybody that all of our workshop sessions are recorded. So if you have poor internet access on the day of the live event, or company drops in, or you're camping, or whatever, doesn't matter. We do record the sessions and make them available to you for 7 days after the live event. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's go now, and I'll show you how to do the downward dog.
Okay.
You've never done yoga?
I've never done yoga.
Really?
Really?
Wow.
You sound like a yoga aficionado.
No, not at all. But I do it quite often because my back sometimes gets really sore. And, just kind of like inverting, or, doing a position where you put your head back, and can really help stretch out your back.
Yeah, yeah.
Mario does yoga.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. She's not interested at all, I can tell that.
Doesn't making the bed count? No?
Yeah.
Okay.
In another 10 years,
Yes.
then you'll probably be interested in yoga.
All right, all right. I will. I certainly won't discount it, but yeah. Fiona is doing another class with us, not on yoga, but on creating her yoga bag mat cozy.
Yes.
Yoga mat bag cozy.
Okay, now you have a yoga mat.
Well, my husband has a yoga mat. And we did try to squish it into the yoga mat bag, but my husband's over 6 feet tall, so his yoga mat is very long. So I will have to make an oversized yoga bag.
For him.
Cozy.
Oh, that's it. So where does he do yoga?
I think he has. We we exercise separately, so I'm not exactly sure what his routine is. But yeah. So we should. Well, let's come back to that. We'll show the yoga bag cozies or the yoga mat bags that we've knit using Fiona's pattern in a little bit. Okay, so Barb, I came into work a couple of days ago and you were very, very excited about a conversation you've been having with Jana, our friend Jana, from Handmaiden. So let's share this news.
Well, last fall, was it last fall? Yeah, I had a chance to go to Nova Scotia.
That's
yes.
Right. You went in like September or October, didn't you?
Yeah, and I think it's end of September. And Jana then was telling me about how she was commissioning patterns from designers for a Nova Scotia theme.
Oh, lovely, yes.
Yeah. And so she's actually come out with it. She's launched it. I think at the time that this will air, it's already been launched.
Yeah.
And the first or second pattern of the series will have already been launched. So the whole thing is called Scotian Stories. And it's a collection of 7 patterns that are based on a theme of Nova Scotia.
And that's really nice.
Yeah. And we're hoping to have Jana here to chat with you about it herself. So I won't, steal a lot of the thunder. But the first pattern is one that is so pretty. It's called the Tree Pocket Scarf. And so Jana has designed these patterns using both yarns from her fleece artist company, which is a company that specializes a lot in wools and what would you say?
I would say primarily wool, right? They're primarily wool, and whereas Handmaiden deals in some more exotic fibers.
Yes, and some luxury fibers, some more silks and cashmeres and blends like that. So she's got 2 sort of streams with each one of these patterns. You could use a rustic wool or a soft wool from the fleece artist line,
yes.
Or you can use more luxe fiber or fabric from the Handmaiden line. So at the time when we talked about the Tree Pocket Scarf, she was completely sold out of the BFL yarn.
Which is the fleece artist yarn.
Which is the fleece artist yarn.
And for those of you who don't know, BFL stands for Blue-Faced Leicester, and it's a sheep breed that's really nice for hand knitting.
Yeah. And so she's waiting for more of that to come in. So in the meantime, we jumped on the Lady Godiva, the Handmaiden kits, and are doing some pre-orders and some orders on those. So this is the theme. Each week, she's going to be launching a different pattern.
So how many patterns are there all together, Barb?
There's 7 in the line.
Okay.
There's a scarf, a pair of gloves.
Ooh.
Yep. A shawl that's beautiful. It's called Tidal Bay Shawl, and it's designed by an Alberta designer.
Oh, very nice.
Yes, I believe she's from Calgary.
I think you told me Calgary,
Yeah. And she was inspired by the shoreline and designed this beautiful pattern using 2 colors of, I think, a fingering weight yarn.
Okay.
I think we might be doing kits in our Adam and Eve for that
lovely.
one.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got a Tree Pocket Scarf. We've got a pair of gloves. Do you know what the name of the gloves are?
The gloves are called Fairy Fingers.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
And then there's a shawl.
The Tidal Bay Shawl.
Okay.
There's Maud's Tulips, which is a cowl.
Okay.
And it's based on some of the beautiful paintings done by Maud Lewis.
Oh, nice. That sounds like it might be a colorwork cowl.
Yeah, the one that's shown in the sample is all one color, but it's a beautiful red, almost like a poppy color.
Oh, nice. Okay. All right, that's 4.
That's 4. And then there's the North Atlantic Whirl, which is a warm hat to wear. And it's got a sort of a whirl on it that's done, I'm not exactly sure. It looks like maybe with roving or
Ooh,
yeah,
intriguing.
something intriguing.
Mm-hmm.
The 6th pattern is Murder at the Mount.
Oh.
And this is a sock pattern, and it's got crows. It's
Oh.
and it says here, at dusk each evening, 8,500 crows return to roost on the grounds of Mount St. Vincent University in Western Halifax,
Interesting.
as they have done for more than 60 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And in the little B&B that Jana and Emily have at Mineville, they have a painting of these crows on a yellow background, and so the socks are.
Oh, so this is a sock project.
Yes, this is a sock project. So
That's
I'm
very cool.
very excited about this one. And they did them in Fleece Artist Organic Cottage Sock yarn.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And also in Handmaiden Casbah, which is the same as our Adam and Eve.
Nice.
So yeah, the last one is called the Rock Hounder Pillow.
Oh, okay.
And this is a beautiful pillow inspired by a trip along the Cabot Trail in Cape Breton. So it's got a combination of fiber, of color, and stitches that's very unique.
Oh, that sounds really good.
Yeah.
So what I really like about this project is the variety of designs. You know, there's something for everyone in there. You could do all 7 and not be overwhelmed or inundated with too many of one thing, right?
Yes.
And then I think you were telling me that the patterns are free with a purchase of the Handmaiden or Fleece Artist yarn to go with it?
Correct.
Oh,
so that's the only way that you can get them.
Ah.
And it's in support of Handmaiden and Fleece Artist and the designers.
Oh, really nice.
Yeah, so local yarn shops like ours that carry Fleece Artist and Handmaiden can use any of their yarns as long as they're their yarns.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's really nice. That's
Yeah.
that's a great idea. And then you're going to see a wide variety of projects because they produce a lot of yarns.
Yes.
Yeah. And Handmaiden and Fleece Artist yarns are available across the United States as well. It's not just a Canadian yarn. I know that every time we go into a yarn shop, or even when I visit yarn shops virtually in the US, I see a lot of Handmaiden and Fleece Artist projects.
Yeah, we're always looking for them. And that's the thing, you get to try out some of the amazing colors that these girls dye. They have such a sense of color. It's beautiful, it's joyful.
And so, here in our shop, Handmaiden dyes our Adam and Eve and our Eden lines of yarn.
That's
and
right.
They do floof as well, which we've talked about before. And the floof is their yarn, but they dye it in our colors for us, which is really kind of cool.
Yeah, and we also have the mohair as well in our colors.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
The mohair is called...
it's called Super Kid Silk.
Right.
Or Super Silk.
I get confused because we carried Zambezi in the past,
Yes.
and we've switched it up now, and so I have to remember it.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it's right here, probably within. Oh yeah, I see it right there.
Yeah. I'm going to grab one.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
And this,
Right.
1,000 meters.
Yeah, it's amazing. There we go. Barb's got a skein. She's going to bring it back to the camera.
It's one of my favorite colors.
Yeah. So yes, it's called Super Kid Silk. It's 70% fine kid mohair, 30% silk, and this is a beautiful yarn.
Yeah.
If you want a good quantity of mohair, this is it.
Yeah.
It'll take you
You could
a
also
kilometer.
1,000 meters.
Yeah,
Cynthia.
it's a kilometer of yarn in Canadian terms.
Yeah. This is great too for blending. So if you wanted to run it along with another yarn, like a sock yarn, you could make the most incredible.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
Yes. Yeah.
So in a past class, Kate Atherley also taught one on making the longest lasting socks, and she said, she showed us a pair of socks that had mohair like where she held a strand of mohair along with the yarn for the toes and the heels. And they just looked so cozy. They inspired our customers.
Yeah, I just want to grab a skein
Can't
of
get her to
Adam
sit
and Eve.
down. Oh yeah, that's beautiful.
Right? So
Isn't
you
that
could
nice?
combine the two together to make sort of like a DK or a worsted weight.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Lovely.
So yeah, we'll showcase some of these with the patterns when we launch. I'm not sure when this podcast will be out, but
April 7th.
okay.
Sorry. Yes, April 7th.
And these patterns come out March 21.
Okay.
So
So as you're watching this, you can go to our website and we'll have more details there for you and possibly some kit options as well. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, excellent. Thanks for that, Barb. That's really fun. I want to, just give you kind of like a kudos for your work because Barb is always on the lookout for new and interesting things for you. My job focuses around, more around workshops and events. We both answer the phone and the emails, but Barb is constantly looking for fun things for me and for you to do. So
That's what it's all about, right? Really?
Yeah.
It's kind of, and we're so lucky to partner with some amazing partners. This week, all the love goes out to Handmaiden and Fleece Artist.
It's like, well, this would be a good segue perhaps into our Easter Bunny egg cup cozy. So this month we're celebrating Easter, and we have an Easter Bunny egg cup cozy kit that we've got online.
Yes.
It's a great stash buster. So if you just want to download the pattern is free. But if you would like to make one kind of like ours, Barb's put together these really fun kits for you. So she's paired up a skein of yarn and a coordinating color of a beautiful silk mohair blend.
Yes.
And the idea in the pattern is that you hold one strand of mohair and one strand of a fingering weight together, and you make these cute, adorable little egg cup cozy. So if you like hard-boiled eggs and you want to keep it warm for your breakfast, you can pop the little bunny over top. Or what I like to do is pop an Easter cream egg inside, or any kind of foil egg, and then hide it so that my grandkids can find them. And it's just kind of fun,
Yes. Yeah. Are you celebrating? Are you going to do an Easter egg hunt or anything like that?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, I might just hide some eggs just for me, to find. I was thinking it'd be kind of fun to do it here at work too. So Sabrina and Connie and Rebecca could all, find an egg somewhere on their workstation.
Yeah.
So
That's a great idea.
Right? Who doesn't need a little bit of chocolate this time of year?
Those little eggs are so good. Are you talking about the little tiny ones or the big ones?
No, I'm talking about the ones where it's got that thick chocolate outer rim, and then when you bite into it, it's full of cream.
Oh, okay.
And it's just like an egg, only really sweet, and it makes me drool just to think about it.
Those
so
are
if I
good.
start spitting, it's just because I'm. Oh man, I love those Easter cream eggs.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to go get you some of those.
I also so let's just talk about that for a second. I also like the ones where they have kind of like that sponge toffee filling in them.
Yes.
So you suck the chocolate off and then you're left with that kind of melt away sponge toffee.
Don't those ones have a candy coating on them?
That too. That's, I think, like a malted milk ball. So it's a little bit different. Yeah.
Okay, now I'm starting to salivate.
And then they're the peanut butter ones, right?
Oh, I haven't tried those.
Chocolate over that peanut butter filling. Oh my goodness.
Okay,
Barb.
we have the best candies at Easter time.
Right? Yeah, so stock up. Okay, I'm going to stop thinking about it.
All right, so Gwen, I have to send a shout out to Gwen. She did one in this colorway.
Oh yes.
It looks so cute.
Oh man, Gwen is on the small things knitting this year. She's doing gnomes. But wouldn't this be fun in a gnome as well?
Yes.
Like you could add the mohair in the hat, but then leave it out and the.
Stay tuned.
Have you got an Easter gnome coming?
No, but well, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, these are so much fun. And
Yeah.
we're really lucky that we've got this camp color because boy, do we have a palette
Yeah.
of gorgeous colors in this yarn. So
Yeah, I had a very special customer email me and say that she had a whole bunch of like hot pink mohair.
yeah.
And she asked me what colors of Adam and Eve would go best with it. So I sent her a
What a
list of
fun
about
job
6.
that would be.
And she picked them and she said, you know, I don't have a project just yet. She was thinking maybe shinny mitts, you know, but she just wanted to make sure she had everything lined up. So yeah, if you have some mohair that you want paired up, you just send us an email and we'll tell you what colors to go with it. Now, I wanted to show you this too.
Okay.
It's kind of Eastery, but remember for my birthday,
Yes.
you gave me some yarn from Over the Moon Yarns from Caitlin.
Yes.
And so last night, I bound off these short socks.
Didn't they turn out cute?
Oh, they look much better on my foot, and I should put them on a sock blocker to show you. But I just wanted to let you know that I was having so much fun with this yarn.
You're done. That's great.
I did toe-up socks because I keep getting inspired. We have a tip toe-up sock class happening with Holli Yeoh. That one's taking place on April 6th, I want to say. Yes, it's a 3-part class, so you will complete a pair of socks if you have time to knit in between. And Holli will teach you all the tricks for knitting toe-up. So
I love classes like that, you know, where you can kind of start out with the instructor and end up with the instructor.
Yeah. One of the things that she talked about in one of her classes was the idea of doing that kind of eye of partridge stitch on the bottom of the sock. So I did that here. I started a bit too late, but it's an idea to prevent holes from happening.
It really does work too. It wears really well on the bottom of your foot.
Yeah, and in her sock class, she'll teach you how to put in an afterthought heel, which is an amazing technique. I did mine kind of like a reverse square heel because I wanted to try that out. So I did some experimentation, but the class is so good, you guys. You really need to take this. And again, it's delivered online, so it doesn't matter where you are. Complete a pair of toe-up socks, and you can make them as long as you want. I decided these were going to be spring socks, so I'm just making them ankle height. But I will pop them on a little bit later and show you what they look like on my feet. So thank you.
Holli's a great instructor, isn't she?
She's amazing.
Yeah.
And her patterns they include all the instructions. So you don't have to take notes. You don't have to scribble in the margins. She's got it all laid out for you.
Nice.
Whether you take a workshop or not, her patterns they're like little mini pamphlets on how to knit projects.
Yeah.
Yes, she's patient. She doesn't mind reviewing things a second time. She's a pro when it comes to having her camera right on her hands. And all of her samples are there. Like she's just, I can't
speak
say enough
highly
about
enough of her. She also answers, you know, Ravelry emails too.
Okay.
Like,
yes, so last night, so we're doing another class with Holli, and a customer sent me some questions about the class, and I normally would answer them, but I was tired, and I just said, I'm going to ask Holli. So I sent the email to Holli, and within half an hour, Barb, she had an answer back for me, and I forwarded it back to our customer. She is so responsive. Yes, you're right, Ravelry, social media, she responds to questions right away.
I've dealt with so many customers who said, I got a pattern on Ravelry and I asked the designer and, you know, it's been 3 months and I've never heard back.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, that really says something, doesn't it?
For sure.
About the designers.
Well, it says 2 things to me. One is that like so many designers are overwhelmed by, you know, they put out a pattern and they get, you know, lots of questions. And they just can't answer them. And, you know, that's understandable. Holli takes the time to review it, but also I think Holli's patterns are so well written that I don't think Holli actually gets that many questions about them. I mean,
true.
Yeah.
That's really true. You know, a Holli Yeoh pattern you can follow from beginning to end seamlessly. We've taught them in our classes, and so we know that.
Which is why, you know, like if somebody asks me a question about a Holli Yeoh pattern, I don't mind doing support for for Holli. I know Holli would do it for us as well, because I know the answer's in there. I just have to read it. You know, sometimes you just have to read it aloud.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to, you know, write it out in your own words. But
Yes.
yeah, it's there. She's pretty amazing.
Check out her patterns, holliyeoh.com, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
HOLLI.
Yes. YEOH. Yeah.
.com.
We'll put a link to Holli's website in the show notes down below.
Yeah.
Speaking of amazing designers, let's take a pause and talk about our friend Fiona Ellis.
Okay.
Because she's relaunched one of her patterns. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is amazing. I think we might have talked about it on our last podcast. I'm not exactly sure. But this
We're
is
chatting about it again because
Yeah.
it's really worthwhile. This is the tree pose.
Yeah, let me
Yoga bag.
hand that to you.
Okay.
Because we've done this bag twice. This is the yoga mat bag. And the first time we did it in Epic, our 100% wool yarn. And then just recently we completed it in 100% cotton.
Right.
Yeah.
This is a recycled cotton too from Rowan. It's called Denim Revive. And we love it because it comes in all the denim-y shades, the different intensities of denim, as well as some beautiful greens and golds and reds. And it's a natural fiber, which is really, really nice. And it looks great in these cables. So the background's sort of a reverse stockinette, and then the stockinette cable part just pops. And Fiona's got a fun addition to it. There's a braided handle. It's like an I-cord that you knit and braid, and then a really nice I-cord drawstring at the top. We don't have a yoga bag in here. Just so you know, there's a little crunching that's going on. There's a scarf inside here, right? A big long scarf.
There's a like a wrap, and it's wrapped up in brown paper to give it some solidity to it. But it makes
so that we could slide it in.
It makes the perfect stuffing for a bag.
We can't give up. I can't give up my yoga mat. Okay, I've got a yoga mat at home that I've been meaning to bring in to slide inside here. But again, I use it every day. Yeah.
And did you tell people what this cable pattern is?
Yeah, it's called the tree pose.
Right.
So this is, kind of like that one where you sort of cross your legs and your arms.
I'm going to put my skirt on in a little bit and maybe do the tree pose. How does that sound?
Kind of like Fiona's going to talk about it, isn't she?
Yeah, we have a workshop coming up with Fiona where the project is to make this yoga bag. And the cool thing about this class, it's going to happen in 2 parts. So you'll have time to kind of work on it in between classes. But she's going to show you how to cable. If you don't know how to cable, she's going to show you how to do that. She's also going to talk to you about traveling stitches. So a unique kind of cabling idea so that you can create these beautiful images. She's going to teach you how to knit I-cord. And there'll also be instruction on short row shaping because the bottom of the bag is done in a very clever short row technique.
Ah, yes.
And then she's also going to teach everybody how to seam in reverse stockinette because in order for these cables to pop on the bag, you need to have this field of reverse stockinette, and the seaming on that one it's the same as stockinette, but you're approaching it differently. So she's going to help you through that. So it's a 2-part class coming up. I'll put the dates and a link to the workshop in the show notes below so you can join us for that.
It's just so brilliant how she's done it. Here's the arms, and then one leg at the knee bends, and you put your foot against your other leg. It's just perfect.
Yeah. And I think, the idea of doing one in wool and one in cotton is really intriguing too because they feel different, they kind of behave a little bit differently. And what I found with the cotton one too was that it shrunk just a little bit.
Yes.
So after washing, you get about an inch shrinkage. It's not much, but it's it's nice to know because if you were going to do a summer top in Rowan Denim Revive, really, really, really important to take your swatch and to wash it and to dry it in the way that you plan to do it with your summer top. So you know in advance what's going to happen to it.
That's just like jeans, right? You know, you take
Yeah.
your jeans out of the dryer and it's like, whose jeans are these? They're not
Oh,
mine.
they shrunk. They must be my husband's.
Yeah.
So
And then you wear them for a day and they're all loose or baggy, right? Yeah.
now, just on the topic of Fiona,
Oh, if
you'll
it's in tight jeans.
if you'll indulge me just a bit longer, my re-yarning project
Yes.
for March is done. And
That's
so
right, you had the boot toppers.
I did, yeah. So I've
Oh.
finished these. This is a pattern that Fiona designed for us originally in our hat trick yarn. It's called the it's called the top shelf toppers. And we've done them in Epic. We've re-knit them in Epic, and the pattern includes instructions for knitting them both in hat trick and in Epic. So a fingering weight, yeah, and a worsted weight. And then I decided to try it with our DK weight, 100% alpaca.
Cynthia.
These are, don't they feel amazing?
Oh my God.
Yeah, so we picked out these colors last time. This is it's a dark green and a light green. The dark green is called juniper and the light green is soft sage. And the only modification I made to the pattern was to extend the length of the undercuff. So normally you can knit these boot cuffs so that they don't fold over. You would have a design that looks like this without the little fold over hem in it. And that's a great way to do them as well. If you want them to fold over, Fiona has an instruction for creating a fold over row in your knitting. And then I extended the green just a bit longer so that it wouldn't be right at the cuff. Because these are alternating knits and purl stitches, I wanted to have the green just start, the soft sage start a little bit down below the border.
I love too how she's got the different rib sections. So she's got like knit 2, purl 2, knit 2, purl 2, and then she's got knit 4.
Well, that's so that the cable on the cuff lines up with the 4 stitches down below. Like
Again, just another brilliant designer who puts a lot of thought into her design, right? And has that match up.
So I was thinking, you know, wouldn't this be cool if you bought the pattern and you just turned it around? So I made the largest size because I have very shapely legs. But if you made a smaller size and turned it around, wouldn't those be? I mean, this is not staying up on my hand because I've knit it large, but you could knit the smallest size
and turn it into a gauntlet.
turn it into a cuff. Yeah,
a cuff. Yes, and then you could put beads along the edge.
Well, sure, why not? Fiona would love you for saying that. You and Fiona, I know, have an affinity towards.
Oh my God, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So knit the smallest size in the alpaca and just wear them on your hands. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a great idea. Oh, these are just beautiful. And this feels amazing.
It's pretty sweet, I have to tell you. Yeah. So this would be a hand wash, lay flat to dry. But I think there's gonna be amazing.
The color combos that we have in these two are really, really nice. Are we going to do kits in these?
We certainly could,
Or
at least we can suggest pairings if nothing else, right? Yeah, absolutely. So that's my re-yarning for March.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. Did you want to talk about your re-yarning for April?
Just briefly.
Okay.
The pattern that I'm re-yarning is called the Wraparound Scarf by Stephanie Pearl McPhee. And I'm still in the planning stages of what I'm going to use for it.
Okay.
But that's going to be next month's.
Do you want suggestions?
Sure.
Okay, give Barb suggestions. What yarn should she use for the Wraparound Scarf by Stephanie Pearl McPhee?
Yeah.
I vote for Adam and Eve.
Oh, does it have to be an RCY original?
Well, no, I don't think it has to be, but I love Adam and Eve. I think that would be really lovely.
That would be fun too, to see the patterning, what happens with it. Okay.
But give us your votes. Back me up.
For any of you who have not had a chance to try Adam and Eve or Eden, ooh, it's beautiful. And we have a lovely sock pattern by Kate Atherley called the Luxe Slipper Sock that uses one skein of Eden. It's a great way to introduce yourself to a yarn that, quite frankly, you'll want to knit with for the rest of your life.
Right. And the Luxembourg socks are also a toe-up sock pattern with a short row heel done in German short rows.
Wow.
So I love German short rows.
So great for somebody who wants to try a new technique like short rowing.
Yeah.
I got to tell Deb about that.
Okay. Yeah. Nice little project. All right. So the other thing that is great about spring is that it's sort of an initiative to take on something new, whether it's planting some seeds to get started on your garden or picking up knit or crochet as a creative outlet. So Barb and I wanted to let you know, in case you have friends who want to learn to knit or crochet, or you want to help somebody, we have kits and tutorial videos available for you. We have 2 kits. One's called a Learn to Crochet kit, and it contains a ball of our epic yarn, a crochet hook, a project bag, and this really incredibly great resource from Church Mouse Yarns and Tea called the Learn to Crochet Companion. And in our Learn to Knit kit, it's exactly the same, except we put in knitting needles, and we include the Church Mouse Yarns and Tea Learn to Knit Companion. And we've created, almost 2 years ago, we created a series of videos that were based on helping you learn to knit or crochet using the Church Mouse Yarns and Tea guides as kind of like the outline. So
how many classes do you think we've taught people, like in our 18 years?
Oh my goodness.
Here in the city of Edmonton.
We used to run a Learn to Knit class every month for about at least 8 months of the year.
And it was 4 weeks, right?
It was 4 weeks long. Since COVID has happened, we haven't had as many requests for Learn to Knit and Learn to Crochet classes, so we're not doing them as often. We do have a class that we run on a regular basis. But if you wanted to pick it up...
Hundreds and hundreds of people, I'm guessing.
I'm guessing you're probably right, yeah. That we've taught in our time, yeah. And that's just, we teach somebody how to knit, and then they teach somebody else how to knit, and they teach somebody else how to knit. We all have that multiplying power in our hands, right?
And the thing I love about it too, about this kit, Cynthia, is that Church Mouse has 72 photographs in the Learn to Knit book that help you step by step. And if you like to learn, buy a book. I know I do. And I also love the videos too. But it's a great way to go step by step through a process and teach yourself or someone else how to do it.
And I think you've addressed something that's really important, and that's learning styles. Some of us learn best by reading. Some of us learn by watching and doing. But I think all of us learn really well when we combine all those things. And so if you watch the video and then read the description in the book and look at the step-by-step still photos, which are very clear, by the way, that's going to help you understand the way that your hand needs to move on all these things. The other thing about the Church Mouse Yarns and Tea approach, which I really like and which we've always kind of endorsed as teachers, is not to be prescriptive about whether or not you should hold the yarn in your right hand or hold the yarn in your left hand. So in our tutorial videos, we will switch hands in the knit style. In crocheting, everything is done with the yarn in your left hand. That's just sort of the traditional way to crochet and the right-handed way to crochet. So we do that. But in both activities, whether you are left-handed or right-handed, the good thing about crocheting is that one hand is holding the yarn and one hand is holding the hook. So it is kind of ambidextrous. And in knitting, you've got a needle in each hand. And if your left hand is, more flexible than your right hand, you can use it to manipulate the yarn, or vice versa. So we like to feel like, even though you are working from the right to the left, it's not really a right-handed necessarily activity. The left-handers, you may disagree with me, and that's fair. I know it's always tougher when you're a lefty and a right-handed.
We also put wool, right, in the kits for a reason.
We did, yeah. Cotton is great. but it has no stretch to it at all. And when you are first learning to do something, the tendency is that you're going to be a bit tight. I think there's a worry that those stitches are going to fall off the needle, or with a crochet hook, that you're going to make it too loose or too loopy. So we do tend to, we see a lot of people being really tight with it. So wool has some elasticity and stretch to it. It's just a bit kinder for learning.
Yeah.
And you know what? When you're done your piece, if it looks terrible, the great thing about 100% wool is you can throw it in the washing machine and you can felt it. And then you can cut it into whatever shape you want.
Or use it as a mug cozy, and it looks great when it comes out of the machine. Felted, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it's wonky, but take out your scissors and cut it into whatever shape you want, and it's beautiful.
I think that that's part of the beauty. I would say save your first swatches, because every one after that first one keeps getting better and better and better. And it's a historical record of your achievements.
That's true. That's very true. It's nice to see your progression. Yeah, absolutely. And it's totally reusable. So if you decide after if you worked your way through your ball of yarn and you want to go back to your first swatch and pull it out and reuse the yarn, by all means, you can do that.
And with summer coming, I think it's a great activity for kids.
Oh yeah.
We're always looking for something for the kids to do, right?
For sure. And sometimes we think that kids should use really big needles and really fat yarn, and there is something to be said for that approach. But working with my grandkids, I see that there's some value to putting them on a medium needle and a medium weight yarn, because it's just not so clunky. Yeah, on a big yarn, they're going to finish their project first, and there's nothing wrong with that. But on a medium weight needle and a medium weight yarn, they'll have a little more practice, and everything's just a little easier to manipulate because it's not so big.
Yeah, and they're less dangerous when used as swords.
Perhaps. So if you wanted to learn to knit or crochet, we just wanted to let you know that we have a kit available for that.
Yes.
And some tutorial videos for help with that as well. Okay, so speaking of our projects and something that's kind of like a fun project to do that you and I have been collaborating on. Let's break out some of the mitered squares.
Yes, okay.
So we've been, we've talked to you about, a way to use your Yarnicorn yarn. And, in fact, I've got a bit of Yarnicorn here for you. I just finished my latest square.
Oh my gosh, look at that. And you hooked them all together.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, so this is January.
Yep.
This is February. And this is March. Our
Nice.
Yarnicorn yarn for March was the Appalachian Trail blend of 60% cotton and 30% nylon. And I've paired it up with Camp Color here. And so we're working away on these mitered squares. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about this. When you're working these mitered squares, you may find that your last bit is a bit poochy.
Yeah.
That's the technical term for it. So I just wanted to show you these squares were also poochy. So what happens when you pick up or seam them together is that you provide a bit more stability for the fabric. So rest assured the poochiness will go away. It's all right. So yeah, we've been having fun with this. The idea was that we would, create a blanket using up some yarns. And so tell us of your approach to this project.
I just want to add, this one's called 1 in a Million, this colorway.
Thank you. And what's this one?
That's Rare Bird.
And
that is One of a Kind.
Or Out of This World.
Maybe.
One of a kind?
That was a long time ago. That was back in January.
Yeah.
That one was dyed by Over the Moon Yarns.
Yep. Flock fiber. And
Trailhead Yarns. And the reason we call this one in a Million is because this dyer, Samantha, she dyes plant fibers, and that's not an easy job.
It's not. That is a one in a million task.
Honestly, I don't know any other dyer in Canada that dyes cottons, and I'm sure someone will tell me that there are many of them. But she's really, really good. Such vibrant colors she gets.
The other reason it's called 1 in a Million is because she was inspired by the idea of a 4-leaf clover. And, you know, sometimes that's a bit of an elusive thing as well.
That's right. So yeah, this is my rare bird version, and I couldn't,
Let me
honestly,
hold it up for you.
I'm obsessed with double stranding sock yarn. I'm having so much fun with it. I couldn't stop with one. So when I was done my first one, I still had yarn left over, and I kept on going and picked up and did them 2 at a time.
Okay.
So that one was rare bird. I haven't had 1 in a Million yet.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do that next. This one was the first one.
Right. So that was Caitlin's
Yep.
Over the Moon.
Over the Moon. Yeah. Out of This World, or one of a kind. I forget what it's called. And Camp Color. And I used semi sort of solid medium blue shade.
I think this shade is called Gimme Some Sugar.
Ah,
Because I believe that's
okay.
the one I used as well.
Great.
And then you used a yellow Camp Color in this one.
Yes. And this was my very first one. This was the color of the month. Again, Caitlin's with black. And I love the effect of that one.
Yeah.
And then I didn't have any more of hers. I actually ran out. So I went into my own stash and pulled all of this. But look at how cool this is with black. It takes any sort of color and makes it pop.
So
And then-
I think your idea is that you're going to continue to do these double squares and then piece them together for a blanket in the
Right.
end, right?
Yeah. I'll sew
Instead
them
of joining them
together.
all at once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I just wanted to show this, Cynthia.
Okay.
I've been having so much fun with this, that this I keep now, and it's spring, and I found these containers in the back. And we're
Right.
not, we're not using them much
We
anymore.
don't do as many displays as we
Yeah.
used to. Yeah.
So I have been using this to hold all my sock yarn.
Okay.
Oh my God, is it ever great? I keep it out on the coffee table. It's spring sort of inspired.
Right.
Here I'm doing another one. This is,
Yep.
oh,
It's all right. It's all right. I'll go grab a.
This is 2 colors of,
You keep talking. I'll go grab a little thing.
okay, we'll see how quickly this merino soaks in coffee. This is 2 shades of Camp Color, and just using up bits and pieces and ends. So fun
I
pattern.
love that gradient look.
Yeah. I had 2 different ends of Camp Color. And then it just might use some of these and this. So this one will be a real hodgepodge, but it's TV watching is what it is. It's in the evening, and it's a perfect project for, you know, if you want to keep conversation with someone or watch a television program.
Yeah.
Did that come out?
It did. If you get it right away and you get it with paper, it just absorbs it. What we'll do later on, you know, is pop this in some cold water, because cold water helps to remove
all the
anything
coffee.
percent.
There's probably a few cookie crumbs in this one here. That one probably had, you know, cheesy remnants.
I might have eaten an Easter cream egg while I was doing mine, and so, you know, yes, that's why we wash everything before we give it to the person that it's going to.
Yes.
Absolutely. So I love this. You know, the other thing that I think is so interesting when we do this is the difference in our gauges. You know, so it's you know, because I have to control everything.
You're saying you're a little tighty?
I'm assuming that we're using the same size needles.
5.5?
No, 5.
5,
Oh,
okay.
maybe you're using a 5.5.
Wait. Let me see. I'll put them through a gauge swatch. Don't know.
You put them through a
I'll
yeah.
have to put them through a...
Okay.
Does that look like a 5 or does that look like a 5.5?
We might be using the same needles, we might not, but this is just a good idea, right? When you're working on things, it's a good idea to do a gauge swatch, because everybody knits differently. And if I do this, you can see that Barb's squares are just a little bit bigger than mine. Now again, she might be using a different needle, or it might just be the difference in our gauges.
I have to go check this out because it's bothering me. I'm pretty sure. What size did you say in the pattern?
5.
Okay, then it's a 5.
Okay.
I know I used what you said to use. So
Do you know? Do you really? Where now she's leaving.
Yeah, I'm going to get a needle gauge.
All right, so you went and got a needle gauge, and
Yes.
And what's the verdict?
Okay, let's see here. What is it? Here's the 5.
Oh.
Yeah, here's the 5.5. Yeah, so it's a 5.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, I'd say
Yeah.
I'd say our gauge is, there's maybe a whole inch worth of difference in there.
Or maybe I was just like really relaxed.
Ah, you went and visited the cannabis shop next door before you knit your square, huh? And I was watching crime thrillers, so that could be the difference. But
I was watching crime thrillers too. I'm probably sleeping through the last half.
So gauge, right?
Yeah.
In this mitered memories blanket, gauge is not important, and unless you're combining your squares with your sister, and which we're not, so it's all good, right? But yeah, we both have we both have a different kind of plan in mind. We both have a different gauge. It's been fun.
It's been so much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to do the big squares and you want to do something a little bit differently, it's probably good to know that we based a lot of this on the brim of a beautiful hat that Lucy Neepy designed for us called the MVP beanie.
Yeah.
And just like you, Barb, when I start making those beanies, I can't stop.
No.
They're so much fun, the little
Yeah.
mitered square. And then there's a hat inside. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think now we're going to take a little break and show you some stuff. We're gonna film some skirts and some sweaters.
Yes.
Etc. So we're going to take a little break here and do a set change again.
That's right.
Okay. All right, so we wanted to show you our progress on the sweaters that we've been doing from our Ann Budd top-down seamless yoke class. The class is done now and we're catching up.
Yes.
But we've got some interesting things to report. So we each created a yoke design of our own design. And I did mine, from I used some graph paper and I charted it out. And I'm using 2 yarns. One is an Ancient Arts merino that is a fingering weight that I got from a previous flash mob. It's called Grateful. And then I'm using Rowan Valley tweed for the body of my sweater.
Yeah.
And I'm really pleased with the way it's coming out. So I'm quite happy.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's beautiful. So you're doing sort of a fingering weight yarn. Yeah.
Fingering sport. And I'm using, I think, a 3 1/4 millimeter needle. So I'm using a bigger needle than you might otherwise use. I think
Nice.
it's what was recommended for Valley tweed. Yeah.
And so tell us a little bit about the pattern. What inspired you?
Well, I like the contrast between sort of the yellowy oranges and the blue, and I was thinking of this rays of sun, actually. But I didn't want to carry my floats very long, so I put in all these little dots and dashes of color. So it's kind of hard to see, but I sort of think of it as, curly rays of sun with little bits of fire, coming off of them.
It's beautiful. It's
I
just
love it.
beautiful.
Yeah.
What are you going to do for the neck?
I'm just going to do, I think, 1 round in the navy blue and bind off.
So no ribbing or anything, just a rolled edge?
Yeah. And right now, so we start with a provisional cast on, so you can put any kind of neckline on that you want. I'm just going to keep it really simple. I don't want it to be too high up on my neck, so I'm going to leave it with the opening that I've got, basically.
Nice. And the back, it goes all the way around?
Yes. So same pattern in the back.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'm going to make this one, I've got lots of Valley tweeds. I'm going to make this one nice and long, and then I'll make the sleeves long. So you can see I still have my needles in my sleeve here. I'm just starting to work on that.
Are you going to put any pattern down on the cuff?
I think I might, yeah. I'm thinking about putting a pattern in here.
Oh.
And then maybe down around the waist. I'm going to see as I go down. I might just do it on the sleeves and draw attention to my, my wrists as opposed to right
all the
across
attention up here. That's really the place you want it.
Exactly, yeah. And now tell us about yours.
Yeah. Well, I'm using Rowan Moordale. So it's a little thicker. It's I'm doing it on a 4 millimeter and a 3.75 millimeter. And my pattern, I was inspired by an older book that I had from Kay Fassett. and he had a pattern in there called Floating Stones. And I've always loved this pattern, but never had the courage to do one of his sweaters. But I thought, I think I could put this pattern into the yoke of Anne's sweater. And
This is gorgeous, Barb.
yeah, I'm really pleased with how it's turning out. I too have got, I just split for the sleeves, so I've got my sleeves on a holder.
Yeah.
And
I see you've got a whole lot of back done here.
So I have a whole lot of back done.
All right, so tell us about the back. This is really cool. Here.
So,
there you go. Turn around again.
Yeah, so I've been playing with my knitting machine again. And I have a knitting machine that I use for the store quite a bit to knit samples with. And lately, we've been having a lot of interest during COVID.
We sure have.
For knitting machines.
Yeah.
So I'm actually hosting a knitting machine group where we meet online and we challenge ourselves to take a look at patterns and see what we can do. So I thought, I think I might be able to knit the rest of the body and the sleeves of this sweater on my knitting machine. So I tried it with the back.
Yes.
I split for the sleeves and added in a few extra stitches for underneath the arm and then put it on my machine. And it was a little bit of a challenge.
Yeah. Because you're taking this curved shape and trying to put it on.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the middle stitches were great, but towards the end, I really had to kind of pull those stitches to get them onto the machine bed. But I did, and it worked.
Yeah.
So, there's a few little...
So how long did it take you to knit the back on the machine?
20 minutes.
Wow. Oh, that's nice. So you're going to do the same thing in the front, and then you'll seam it underneath the arms.
Yeah.
I gotta say, that's very tempting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's a lot of straight knitting that you don't have to do. Oh, good.
So I'm not sure I would recommend this for a yoke sweater, just because, the yoke, it's on a circle, right? So you're kind of, it's like trying to knit on a 16-inch circular needle with, 12 inches worth of knitting.
Yes.
You're really pulling those stitches. So
yeah.
I think, but any sweater, I think that you can knit flat, that has a front and a back, you could convert, theoretically.
Yeah. Well, I was just thinking, when you were describing that, the traditional way of knitting yoke sweaters is from the bottom up. And you knit a tube from the bottom up, and then you make these little tiny, bind-offs where you put the sleeves in, and then you knit the sleeves, and then getting all of that, the sleeves, the yoke, everything on your needles again is always really difficult for the first few rows. And I think maybe there's just some of that tension issue in there as well.
Well, and the other thing I did, Cynthia, is I knit an extra 1.5 inches in the round.
Or flat?
No, see, like here, like an extra, so that it would have more, just with one yarn.
Ah, I see.
So that it would have more give. And I might go back and do that here. I'll knit an extra inch by hand on the front, just with one yarn, so that there's no more of this tightness up here on the yoke, and there'll be more stretch.
Right.
So I can get it onto my machine easier.
But we wanted to give you a little bit of a progress update.
Yes.
And so hopefully the next time you see us, we may be wearing full sweaters.
Yeah.
But I love being at this stage where you can actually try it on and as you go.
Okay, so show us what you've got here.
So I wanted to give you an update on my Amic Lake pullover. This was a project that we did using a flash mob yarn from Handmaiden, and I had 2 skeins of the Handmaiden yarn. So I paired it up with
Woolstock Light?
Thank you. Blue Sky Fibers Woolstock Light to do the patterning in the yoke, and so I don't have much yarn left. So I decided what I would do is make the sleeves short.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to have like a little capped sleeve, and once I'm done the second sleeve, see my needles are still in here, then I'll use what's left of the main yarn to just go as far as I can on the body. Yeah.
That's so pretty.
I think the patterning is really beautiful in this one.
Yeah, this is a pattern by Ruth Gallo, and she's created a really nice sort of geometric design that's really striking. It really stands out when you use a contrasting color.
Exactly. And so again, the trick here is, if you are using a variegated yarn, make sure that none of the colors that are in your patterning are contained in your variegated yarn.
Right.
So we stayed away from, any dark greens or taupes or anything like that. And just pick some colors that kind of pop and away you go.
It's beautiful.
I'm
Absolutely
having fun
beautiful.
knitting this. Yeah.
I love the tweed effect in this yarn too. It looks so nice in the body. And see, you're just getting a little bit of flashing there. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did use 2 skeins. I mixed 2 skeins in here, and then I ran out of the first skein, and I'm working with just the one here. So that explains a bit of the difference.
Yeah.
But I think it looks interesting and cool. I could have worked from both ends of this ball to keep that going. But
why bother? I mean, this is the beauty of hand-painted yarn, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And the other thing is I'm using a 3.5 millimeter needle with this. It's again a fingering weight yarn. So I'm using quite a big needle relative to the yarn size. So my fabric is a bit more, it's a bit loose, it's a bit open.
Yeah.
But it feels so good.
Yes.
When you use a singles yarn, you trap a lot of air in with that spin, and so it just keeps you really warm and cozy. So I think short sleeves will be no problem with this one.
Yeah, and you might even have a little bit of drape too. The fabric is nice and light.
Yeah. All right, so that's where we are on all our FOs.
Great.
Yeah. All right, so we've come to the end of our podcast.
Another podcast in the can.
We want to say thank you, everybody, for joining us today. We really appreciate that you've hung out with us for an hour and a bit.
Yes, it's been a long one today. But I just wanted to say, that skirt.
Aw, thank you.
Did everyone notice Cynthia's skirt? Oh my gosh.
I think we talked about it last time, but maybe you didn't get a full view of it. So this is the skirt that I completed with the Ann Budd skirt class. We have another one coming up.
Yes.
So, if you want to join me on another skirt adventure, you should. I'll do a quick turnaround so you can see it's the same on all sides.
It's so pretty. Those
Thanks.
pleats are just gorgeous.
I love it. This is the most comfortable garment I have. I think wearing a skirt is, we've done trade shows before, and I've worn my Ann Budd skirts to them because you can bend, you can, you're comfortable. It's still it's like you're wearing, I think Ann says it's like wearing sweatpants, except it's classier.
Yeah, very dressy. It looks really nice.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us today. We hope you have a great month, and again, we're sending all of our best wishes to everyone who's involved in the conflict in Europe. And take care. Stay healthy, everyone.
Bye now.
Bye.